Whoever is listening, welcome to episode 49 of the Man with the Plan podcast. In this episode, we have a fantastic guest. Nyles Pinckney is a former Clemson Tiger and current Minnesota Golden Gophers starter for the defensive line. He is a great guy, hell of a dude, and an even better football player. I cannot wait for you guys to listen to this interview. In some spots, it's going to be a little bit of a spotty connection, but the content is worth it. He gives great, concise answers. Really excited for this. Really been in the works for a long time. Super stoked, super pumped. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Nyles Pinckney. Whoever is listening, welcome back. My name is Grayson Mann. This is the Man with a Plan podcast, episode 49. Guys, today I am not alone. I am joined by a special guest, Nyles Pinckney. He is not only a great guy we're so honored to have you on, by the way. He is also a dominant football player. He was a team captain for the Clemson Tigers in 2020. He was a third-team All-ACC selection, part of a historic senior class, going 27-0 at home. Just an unbelievable run. Now looks to turn the tide at Minnesota, a program that is here to stay. Nyles, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me, and I'm really happy that you asked me to be on here, and I feel it's a great honor.
So I just want to start I want to get right into it. I want to talk about your high school recruitment, how dominant you were. Just take me through that recruitment process. What made Clemson stand out? And for just people who are maybe in that process right now, what is some advice you could give to them?
I think for me, like, high school was a good time. I enjoyed playing for my brothers. And I think that's what really motivated me to play as well as I did at that point in time. Just playing with them, trying to win a state championship. That's something you can never get back. We never were able to do it, but it made us close to doing that. The whole recruitment process for college, it was very hectic and crazy. Schools call you all the time, send you letters, coaches call you, text you, DM you. It's a very hectic time, and I feel like it's just something they gotta remember that you're still a kid. You're gonna have fun at certain things like that. So that for me was very hard, trying to understand that this is still a business, and I still gotta be able to be a kid, but also remember that I got schools looking at me. But it was very hectic. Ultimately, Clemson was big for me because they offered me when I was a freshman in high school. So, like, that meant a lot to me because they're my first offer. They saw me before, and believed in me before anybody else really did. So I feel like that stuck with me. It stuck for a while. Then I really loved it when I visited the school and took the time to talk to Coach Elliott, Coach Sweeney at the time. My position coach was Dan Brooks. He's retired now. But those guys like that, just time to spend time looking at the campus, see the fans, come to a few games. I just realized that atmosphere is unmatched for a lot of and it's just hard to find something like that. So I feel like that's really one of the reasons that Clemson just drew me in.
So I really want to talk about Coach Venables. If you're watching the ESPN broadcast, you can see he's bringing the energy. He's out there. He gives 110%. What was it like to work with him on a day-to-day basis? Did you feel that energy as you were going out, like, look for calls and you see him on the sideline? Just take me through what that's like. I asked Chad Smith about it earlier, and he was saying that he matches it. It's insane. So I would love to hear different perspectives. Tell me what you thought about
it. So first coming as a freshman, watching Coach V coach, it was kind of like weird at first. Not even weird, just felt like he was over the top. But then as I got older, I realized that he everything he does is for a reason. He wants us to, as players, to exhaust ourselves when we're out there. He wants the best from us. He doesn't want anything but he wants us to shoot for perfection. He doesn't want us to be lackadaisical with our preparation. He just wants you to bring great energy to practice, because at the end of the day, if you don't have those things, you won't be a good player. And I feel like that's really all he demanded each and every day, just you to exhaust everything you had. And that's kind of where he comes from Coach Sweeney. Coach Sweeney wants us to exhaust every day, everything we have, and then he wants us to then it's dwindle down to Coach Venables. He's able just to put that on us, and that energy just flows throughout defensively. I feel like he's honestly, I feel like people say it, but I feel like he's a defensive mastermind, just the way he thinks and just talks stuff like that. And then, like, it kind of gets to his players, because when you get to certain, we catch ourselves talking about actual football games in the manner he does and being all into it, even though we probably don't know there's other team schemes or anything like that. It's just how he's gotten into it. So I feel like that's one thing that he brings. But his way of getting it across may look scary and intimidating, but it really helps a lot of players, and we realize that he just wants the best from us.
Yeah. What would you say is, like, something that, like, for the rest of your life, you will take away from what he taught you as a coach at your time at Clemson?
I think just like I said before, multiple times, just exhaust yourself. I feel like, and I feel also got to bring the energy because sometimes you have to bring the energy. When none of us had it, sometimes maybe it was like one of those long, hard practices. He still give everything out, in out and straight sweat stuff like that. He'll be drenched in sweat like he practiced himself. So like to me, that stuff is just like you gotta love what you do and exhaust everything you have in the role he has. He knows he's in a very hard struck, powerful role as a defensive coordinator, but also he knows he has to exhaust everything for us because he's at the end of the day, he's giving us the play call, but we're on the field. And he shows us that he's gonna give everything he had, and that's what I want to do is give everything I have whenever I do.
And talking about giving everything you had, this senior class you were a part of at Clemson truly gave everything they had, undefeated at home, national champions in 2018. Did y'all envision that type of success when it was starting out, or something over time that y'all are thinking, man, this could be really special? Take me through what that senior class was like.
That senior class that we had that 2018 year was like that whole year we felt something different about the team. We felt like we had a very seasoned team. I felt like we had like great players in every position, especially I know that year D-line wise, everybody talks about the Power Rangers, Christian, Cleve, Dex, Austin, like those guys, they really led the stride on that because at the end of the day, they were pushing everybody the same offensively or defensively. They wanted everybody to push their best and just made it contagious. Everybody on the team started to believe that we could be a really good team. That who says we can't go undefeated in the be the first on the team in the college football era. And we just felt like that was something we wanted to accomplish. Coach Sweeney talked about it in the meetings all year. He said he felt like there was something special with this team. There's something special we can do. We didn't know what it is exactly, but we just kept pushing every day. And it was just every day came into work. Everybody had a locked in focus. We barely played like everything was straight business, but at the same time we had fun. And I feel like that's one thing that was big that year. We just had fun as a team. Also, we knew we were handling business. So I think that was like one of the most memorable things for me.
So you could argue that Clemson produces especially on the defensive side, the best of the best. What do you think makes Clemson defense, especially on the line, so special? You were a part of it. You mentioned the Power Rangers. What goes into that process that makes Clemson just different and stands out from everyone else?
You see as a D line, even before the Power Rangers, you had guys before like Vic Beasley, Grady Jarrett, Deshaun Williams, Kevin Dodge, Shaq Lawson, guys like that came through. And it's something that it's been going on for a while, but it's just started getting more media spotlight now. We had when we started as the time grew on, people started to realize Clemson has some real talent at the D line. And I feel like that's what a lot of young guys like myself see. Even before Christian, I knew who Christian them were. I remember watching players like Grady, probably like people used to compare us in stature and stuff like that. And it kind of stuck to me as like, I could see myself playing here. And I was just like, I want to be one of those Clemson greats and certain things like that. So I feel like that's one of the things that really drew myself, but also do other recruits.
So we're going to talk about that 2018 season a little bit more. During the season, as y'all were progressing, you had Trevor Lawrence come in. You had on all sides of the ball, it was just pure dominance. Was there a certain point in the season where you felt like nobody's going to be able to stop us, not even any of the other playoff teams, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame? Did you guys expect that when you were going into that postseason, or was it something that just came along as y'all were dominating that you guys weren't going to be stopped at all?
We kind of wasn't thinking about dominating other teams. At the end of the day, all season we talked about all coach when he preaches to us about is it's Clemson versus Clemson. Like we have to play ourselves each and every day, and that's something you realize is like true. Some teams beat themselves. Most games are. I have a saying that I actually took from Coach Flake. Most games are lost, not won. So that's pretty much when you beat yourself, you're losing yourself the game. You're taking away the opportunity and chances you have to be successful and get the results you want in the game. So I feel like here, even like I'm like just hearing that from Coach Flip here, but that method kind of made me think about that season, that 2018 season. We were very good, but we were humble enough to each game to know that any team could beat us, and we knew that we could beat but confident enough to know we could beat any team. So that was really one thing that really stuck. Like I felt the whole season, like we had to beat ourselves regardless. We never wanted to play down to our competition or feel like we were playing up. We just had a standard that was best, and then every day we had to raise that standard.
So in that national championship game, I want you to take me through what that's like, because not many people can say that you not only played in a national championship, you won one. It's just an unreal feeling, an unbelievable experience. And you also made one of the statement plays, taking down Mac Jones in that fake field goal, which is kind of weird to say now that Mac Jones is a starting quarterback for the Patriots. It's just a weird domino effect. How did that play emerge? How did you feel about making one of the big plays that really sealed that victory for Clemson? Because on that next drive, Justin Ross gets the big touchdown, and the game is pretty much over from there. Take me through that game and just what it was like to be able to dominate a team that everyone was saying all season was unstoppable. I bet that must have been pretty good.
So the first thing, like, we talk about every week about be ready for fakes. Being in field goal safe and being ready just to be like ready just in case to run a fake, certain things like that. But the opportunity leading up to it felt like a blur because I remember this is when Dexter was out. We had the rotation was like we had a rotation, me, Albert Huggins, Christian Williams, and Jordan Williams playing the game. And we just kept rotating through, and it was one opportunity. If something happened, that Albert came out and coach put me in. And something about that moment just felt different. Like I just knew it was coming. So I told myself right before the play goes off, get off the ball as hard as you can on this double team and like try to block it just in case. But then I realized it was run. And I just got used the best, like, we worked on that week and know the run was going that Coach Bates had coached us up on. And I was in there in the right position. So that was a big play, especially for me being a younger guy. Well, not as young, but being behind these guys playing the national championship because I redshirted the first one. So I kind of missed the opportunity. But it really was like one of those plays that I always remember, and then it was a momentum shift for us because then, like you said, the Justin Ross touchdown was very big, and it kind of put the game in a good position for us. And I feel like that we just made a few more plays that game against Alabama. Like winning in that kind of fashion is just something we don't hear as happening in the national championship, especially Alabama for like in the Nick Saban era. So it was one of those wins that we were just happy about, and we still had the respect for Alabama. We played a really well game, really good game, and I feel like it just worked out for us. And it was just the result we had. We were so happy for, especially in that fashion.
Yeah. So I want to go to the end of the game. The confetti's fallen. What is your first thought? Is it immediately hit you like I'm a national champion, or is it like something that you had to really process over time? Because now, like you said, it's such a big win, especially against Alabama. Is it something like someone was like, "Hey, you just won the national championship," and you're like, oh my gosh, just like take me through that moment and that confetti falling, that post-game just experience?
It's a surreal feeling, honestly. Just sitting there watching confetti fall and watching the national championship on the board, because it's like it shows your team and everything like that. You know all the work you put into all season, and so for you to end the season national championship, feeling that confetti on you, everybody happy and celebrate. It's kind of like it's like a point of a relief. It's like we did it. All this work we put through and went through and put up with for weeks after the season ends, and like going from January, from there, that time, winter workouts, spring ball, mat drills, summer workouts, fall camp. It's a really grueling process for you only get promised 12 games a year, honestly, and then get those 3 extra games, the conference championship, play game, and the national championship. And I feel like that's just, it kind of hit me at first. And then as time went on, coming back home from California, we realized we were still trying, seeing the fans be there. And then we had the parade coming up. It's just a great feeling.
Great feeling. So let's talk about 2020, a season that is going to be defined by COVID-19, lots of change, and just all around, everyone was having to do something different. Like we have to have protocols, we have to have testing, we have to have all this stuff. You emerged as a leader, you emerged as a team captain for that team. How did it feel to be one of the guys that everybody wanted to lean on in such an unforgettable season?
Just because it's an honor knowing what we've been going through that season, guys getting hurt, guys testing positive for COVID, missing games, like just living in a different way that we haven't before. And just living in a pandemic, honestly, is just new to everybody. Nobody knows how to handle that. So seeing that my teammates trusted me and voted on me as a captain was a big honor, especially in a year like that where you have so much going on. They can still lean on me and trust me. And it was a great honor, and I really appreciate that. That's something I'll never forget because not many guys get the opportunity to be a captain, especially seeing the guys that came before me that were captain. Christian Wilkins, he was a 2-time captain. And it's hard to be one, but seeing how you two is a real honor, and just seeing guys like that. So I feel like that was really special to me, and just being the captain, having that C on your jersey, especially you get picked as captain throughout the season, but when you get to that bowl game, you be able to get a C on your jersey. That's really special.
It's an unbelievable feeling, man. I want to talk about now your transfer to Minnesota. In 2019, they really impressed everybody, blew everyone away. Coach Fleck, they're here to stay, in my opinion, and I think yours too. What led to that decision? It's like another form of a recruiting process. Tell me how that is with the transfer portal, especially something that's gotten a little more momentum as college football has evolved.
So me, at first, I wasn't planning on entering the transfer portal. I was going back and forth about my decisions for my careers, if I wanted to leave or just go to another school or stay at Clemson another year. So it's something I prayed about, that I talked to my parents, and then one day I just said, you know what, let me enter the portal and see what's out there for me. So entered the portal. A few schools called me, but that night, defensive line coach Chad Wilt called me. It was like my first day in the still. He called me a little bit later. Minnesota was an hour behind. He got out of the meetings and he called me. He was like, I know it's late. He was just like, I want to talk to you. He just said, I want to let you know Minnesota's interested in you. And I remember Minnesota being Penn State and just talking to coach, but then he called me and made sure, like, he let me know that he really liked me as a player and wanted me. So as days go on, I'm still going through the whole process, talking to different schools. Minnesota just always stuck with me like that. The logo, Coach Flex, wins, and certain things like that. And the culture they brought, just stuck with me, just talking to Coach Wilt. So then they actually said, like, and then Coach Wilt, my position coach, made it a point that I was going to talk to Coach Fleck. And so he could talk to me about the culture and just tell me about everything he's about as a coach. And I was like, okay. So I talked to Coach Fleck. He stuck out for me. I love his culture. He's teaching here, his program, and I just love the direction we're going in. And I feel like we can add to it this season. We had a rough start, first game of season, play Ohio State, but his first game of season, we'll just grow from it and get better each and every day. And then hopefully it just works out for us and we just exhaust everything we have.
Yeah. So I want to actually talk to you about Coach Fleck. What is something that he does that really flies under the radar with the media? I feel like he's got a lot of respect. He's really gained a lot of momentum in the last couple of years. But what is something that nobody's really talking about?
I just think nobody's really talking about everything this roller boat culture means, especially what it means to him. I know he's talked about it before, but everything it means to him and how much it just affects, it really relates to his players and everything they go through in life. Especially like I feel like it just everything his culture applies to life. Honestly, I feel like we're not talking about that enough. And then he came out with a book called Road the Boat, and I feel like this is something that everybody should take a read and realize that he, like, everything he stands for. He's not just a football coach; he's a great man and a great teacher of just life and everything, and how you should live your life, how you should want to be, and how you can just maximize every opportunity you have.
Yeah, man. So what are your expectations for the Golden Gophers in 2021 and personally for yourself? I believe that it's a team that's going to be nasty. They're going to compete. They're going to play a complete football game. They're going to be tough to stop for anybody. Tell me, do you agree? What are your thoughts?
I feel like the goals for our team is just to get better each every week. We playing each other, playing ourselves, Minnesota versus Minnesota every week. We play to a standard that we have. And I feel like our goals will ultimately come from like we just continue that mindset. You know, everybody wants to win a conference championship. Everyone wants to win a natty, and that's not everybody's trajectory. And because you just having wide eyes, but you need to have a pinpoint mindset, a small mindset, focus on 1 week at a time, and that's what we're doing. So we're doing what we need to do 1 week at a time. And everybody has goals, but I feel like I'll just get 1% better, change our best, get better each and every week. And if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a leader and a teammate, the team goals come before mine. So just watch their team goals get accomplished, then ultimately I feel like my goals would be accomplished as well. But they always come first. And I feel like that's just one big thing that I just think about this season with our team. We have a chance to do a lot of things Minnesota hasn't done in a while. And this could be the best team we've had in a while.
That's true. I really am excited for you guys. It's been a team that has been on my list to be able to watch. If they're on, I really want to see what what this team is capable of. And it's going to be even more fun watching you, man. Ball out. Yeah. So after this year in Minnesota, what do you have? Like, what's on your mind? What do you think is the next step for Nyles Pinckney?
Of course, my eligibility is up after the season, so I know I'll be getting prepared for the NFL. God willing, I get an opportunity to do that. It's been a dream since I've been a kid. So that's just me. Like right now, that's the thing. One of the things I know for sure after the season I'll be doing. God willing, I just pray He gets me there to give me the opportunity to play in the NFL.
Yeah, man. So before we wrap up this interview, we're going to do a couple like rapid fire, just a couple fun questions before we wrap this up. I just want to start. You have a personal game that, like, it might not be like the best performance, but what was your personal favorite game to be a part of?
My personal favorite game I would be a part of would definitely have to be maybe the 2018 National Championship. Also, I was my redshirt year, the year Lamar Jackson started to come on the scene against versus Deshaun. That was a big year for me. I didn't play, I watched it, but that was one of the best games I've ever seen and been a part of, just because Like it was Lamar versus Deshaun before they were NFL players. Like we're watching the rise of Lamar. Like he coming on the scene, hurdling guys, getting magazines. They thought this is his Heisman year. So like before we knew it was his Heisman year. So just watching that game and being that game, probably one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of.
So I had it on like your little rushing touchdown against Georgia Tech. Is that your favorite play of all time, or is there something else that you have in your mind?
That means a lot, especially being like in Coach Sweeney has a habit of getting like his big guys touchdowns. So that means a lot to me individually as a player, just getting the touchdown. Not many defensive tackles can say they have a touchdown, especially a rushing touchdown. So I think that's just something too big for me that I always remember, and I have pictures of people talking about it. And that's one thing I always stick for me. But ultimately, a game that we'll always remember is that 2016 game, Deshaun versus Lamar.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that rushing touchdown, the jumbo package. Is that something that y'all go over in practice, or is it something that like you have like Coach Sweeney come up to you and say, hey, we're going to put you in a fullback and you're going to score here, all right? And you're just like, oh, all right. How does that go? How does that work?
So with that, like we always have a jumbo package. Coach Sweeney just knows he's notorious for having the defensive line jumbo package, offensive line that 1 year with John Simpson. But he just likes to have his big guys on heavy packages sometimes. The athletic big guys he has, put them on a jumbo package, let them run in, or block could be a fullback running back. So it's something he always has in his back pocket. I mean, it's something fun to have, especially like for older guys that want to get a rushing touchdown, something like that. So I think that's just one of the big things that we enjoy.
That's something that I think separates Clemson from a lot of the other teams is that like just that jumbo package, just fun. Like it doesn't have to be a thing, but like he just does it. And that's just what is so great about it. Do you have a story or a personal, like a teammate or a funny story that you want to share? Because I shared Chad Smith had a couple funny stories and I just wanted to see what you thought.
I have there's a bunch of funny stories I have. I remember Tyler Davis. One of our funny stories is like when we first go out to the lake. He's from Florida. He loves being on the water and stuff. And I know people laugh about it. He's always known for seeing the jet ski, but people don't understand how bad he really was looking for a jet ski. Like he wanted that bad. Like for him to finally get the opportunity to get that jet ski, made his whole trip to Lake Kiwi during camp. And that's one of the things like he's notorious for now is everybody wants to talk about his jet ski and the music video. So I think that was another thing. Also, even the Drake music video we did last season, that was something nice to do, especially like kind of lighten everybody's mood with COVID going on. And then it just kind of started its own thing. And now Clemson, all Clemson does is like have little music videos come out, do different stuff like that. And I feel like fans really enjoy that.
Yeah, that one was pretty creative too. There was a lot of, especially when that was trend, I was like, oh my gosh, Clemson did something about this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
So was there a superstition or like a saying that a teammate might have had that like really just every time you heard it, you were like, dude, you're ridiculous?
Not anything ridiculous because I feel like everybody has that one little tradition they do, a superstitious thing they do. Yeah. Like I'm not a very superstitious guy, but it's like I always know I make sure I do the same process, warm up. I like to do the same thing. But ultimately, I don't think anybody did anything weird. I know Dexter Lawrence, he had this thing where he had to have like a scoop of honey before a game. Like he had to just have a scoop of like honey from like a bottle or something like that. He would just take one spoonful and like he would just eat that. And that was just what he did before every game.
It's like the Skittles with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, it's just kind of like something he did. It's something he did. And I guess it's like at first I was weird, but I realized it's just what he does.
Yeah, just whatever works, man. Like just to get you in the groove of the game. Was there? All right, I'm going to ask like two different versions of this question. Was there a team that on the schedule, when the schedule was posted, you absolutely dreaded? And was there a team that you just couldn't wait to play for or play against?
So there was never like any team that we dreaded, but there's also those games where you just were like, this week we have to be on top of it. But I think back in the Georgia Tech's triple option era, they were definitely one of those teams where you prepare for. You kind of like, wow, it's one of those weeks again where you're gonna have to be in practice watching out for cut blocks. You have to be really efficient in exactly what you do because they were very efficient with the triple option, one of the most efficient teams there was in triple option. And it was just one of those games. It was just like each week you came into was like watch your knees, protect your knees, especially a D lineman. But also a team we always waited for is got to be our in-state rival, South Carolina. Every year. Yeah. So yes, 2020 when we didn't get to play them because of COVID and certain things, it was hard because it was weird. Like we used to play in South Carolina, it's one of those games. So I think for us, it was just one of those games you always look forward to every year. Like that's one game. If you didn't play any other games this season, that's one game you wanted to play.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like that for us, that's definitely one of those games.
It's South Carolina fans too. It's like their national championship. They're jumping on the bit whenever Clemson shows a little bit of struggle. They get on that.
Oh yeah, especially when Clemson loses or anything, they wanted Clemson to lose so bad. But it's just one of those things. It's kind of like you're not surprised. It's your rival. They don't want to see you succeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. What was your best location that you ever traveled to? This is probably the last question before we wrap up. Did you have especially with Clemson, so many playoff games, so many different stadiums? Was there one that just blew your mind? Like, just Jerry World come to mind, San Francisco?
For me, it definitely is in the bowl game in Dallas. J World, like people like to call it, the practice facility is beautiful, stadium is beautiful, their whole facility is beautiful. I remember they gave us a tour there, we practiced there, and I was just like, this is what the hype is about. This is beautiful. And I remember that's always stuck with me. And I was like, whenever people ask me, I always say the best bowl game is the Cotton Bowl, and that's because it's Dallas. And you go to J World, you get to see everything, and you see everything up and close and personal.
It was crazy. I remember being at that game too, and it was just like the Jumbotron, the big blimp. It was just, I was in awe. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That'll conclude our interview today. Nyles, do you have anything you want to say before we take off?
I just want to say I appreciate it. And I know this might be a heavy Clemson podcast, but I'll say make sure you tune into the Minnesota Gophers.
Yes, sir.
So we play this week at 11 a.m. Central. So just tune in.
Of course, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, thank you so much for listening to our podcast interview with Nyles Pinckney, a fantastic interview and a great guy. As always, have a fantastic week and take care.